Hey there, this is Real Talk Baseball and Carlos Baseball. With me, as always, is Jamal J. Dizzle. Ernie's out today, so I took a whole week off, Jamal. I felt a little refreshed, man. How are you doing?
Nice. I'm doing pretty refreshed myself. Beautiful day in Vermont. Finally got some warm weather. Finally.
It was snowing or what?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No,
That's not good.
no. Don't say that. Don't say that word.
You're tired of it, right?
Oh my goodness.
I see you're rocking the USA shirt, man.
Oh
What
yeah, got
player
to
do you have?
represent. Got to Aaron Judge, man. Got to represent the 99.
The big 99. All right, let's go through our topics, man. Of course, we have a big show, and we did hear the big news over the weekend that Alex Cora got fired. You guys covered that, and now another big name, Rob Thomson from the Phillies, got fired. And I mean, I don't know if we were expecting that or should have happened earlier. We'll talk into that. Of course, Alex Cora declines his job, and we'll talk a little bit about that, of course. And then the Braves are the hottest team right now, and a lot of people are not talking about them. Why is that? We'll talk about them because they are hot. And then Mason Miller, is he a Cy Young contender? Could he win the Cy Young? And we'll give our opinion on relievers, starters, and see if maybe there's another award they could potentially win. I don't know. And then of course, Prospect Wednesday and the more anticipated part of our show, because I always learn about this, man. Every time I see your videos and you put a prospect, I know about all these guys. And thank you for doing those little shorts, because I mean, we know about the guys that are on top in the major leagues, but when we hear guys that are in the minor leagues and making it to the top, we already know who they are. So Seth Hernandez is one of the guys that you mentioned, and I wanted to, thank you for that. That I know who he is. He's pretty much doing good in the minor leagues right now, and that's dope, dude. But let's get into it, man. Rob Thomson, dude. Did you expect that coming? Should it happen earlier, or what? Give me something. What do you think about Rob Thompson getting fired, man?
Yeah, it was funny. Well, Ernie and I were just talking about it Sunday night before the show, and we were like, "Oh, it's got to be hard pressed to see what happens because Tom." But it's just one of those deals where the club wasn't doing well, and after losing what was it, 11 out of 12, something had to give, and unfortunately, I thought Thompson handled it very well in the press conference.
Yeah,
Obviously, very grateful for his stint there, and look, it's like he's been in the game long enough. He understood,
yeah,
what needed to be done, and I just thought he handled the situation well for what it was worth. And
yeah.
it was nice not to see a coach's van outside parked somewhere. This was done a little bit better than that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the crazy thing about it is when you start talking about the Phillies and you start saying, okay, they have a great team. They have the Bryce Harpers, the Schwarbers. They have, all these potential Hall of Famers on that team. It's not a team that you look at and you're like, they're not going to make it in the playoffs. No, this team is made to win the World Series. Their prime age, whether you have guys that are 33, 34, but you have guys on that team that are 25, 26. So they average out to 30 years old. They're in prime right now. And it doesn't look like that. So who do you blame? You blame the manager for them not playing right. And sometimes it sucks, but that's just in the game, the name of the game, right? And Rob Thompson, I mean, that what happened with him is that he couldn't get his team on the right path, on the right road to success. He made it to the World Series. He lost to the Astros. They made it to the playoffs last year. They lost to the Dodgers, and that's the thing that happened with Thompson. But I felt, and correct me if I'm wrong, I felt that he should have got fired last year when he lost in the
Mm.
playoffs, because like I honestly felt that the Phillies deserve a lot better. It's a big time team, and like I said, they're full of superstars, right?
Yeah, yeah, big mark. You bring up an excellent point there, and the way, especially the way it ended that
Yeah,
series. Yeah, it just Rob Thompson. I think he has a laid back approach, and it worked for the time that it needed to work out. But after a while, but now it's kind of played out. You just feel like this club needs a different voice, like a different shot in the arm. It's
yeah,
just not the same feel as it was when he first took over.
yeah.
And and yeah. That's just they need something else. I don't know if Mattingly is it long term, but it definitely seemed like there was something as far as how he ended the club or the media session the other day, where it was almost like a Kobe thing, where he's like, "Hey, job's not finished. What do you want me to do? Congratulate these guys on one win?"
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like kind of getting
Yes.
fired up there.
So he got that one win, and right now the game is postponed, and it probably going to get suspended and get made up later on in the year. But I mean, what's going on with the Phillies, dude? Like, do you feel like maybe the manager's taking more heat than what he needs to, and these players needs to wake up? Like, I honestly feel like the players need to wake up. And you text me earlier, you said, or you text the group, you said maybe they need to move. Bohm to fourth, or make change the lineup,
Some
right?
sort of a
Right?
shakeup, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Like Dave Dombrowski, one of the things that he was mentioning in the media earlier today or yesterday was the fact that they don't have that cleanup hitter right now. That fourth batter is not doing it, and Adolis Garcia has been the guy in that slot, and he's just not getting it done at the moment. You know, he
no,
can catch fire at any time, but I feel like this team needs maybe move Bryce Harper, like you mentioned earlier. Maybe move Bryce Harper to fourth,
yeah,
or I said Alec Bohm,
Alec Bohm.
maybe a Brandon Marsh might be. Try him out over there. He's batting 298, and try his bat out there and see what it's looking like for the cleanup hitting so far. Just they need some sort of a shakeup. And I
Yeah,
mentioned this before too, like the Bryson Stotts. This was a guy like I said before, he wasn't pegged to be like a superstar really, but still he was somebody that they had high hopes for, and he's just not living up to expectations as of right now. He's batting what below the Mendoza line
very
still, I
low.
believe,
Yeah,
coming into today. So they desperately need bats like his to step up. Bohm as well. He's been another one that just has not been executing like he has in seasons past. They need those bats to wake up if they're going to have any sort of success.
yeah, and you know what's crazy? You mentioned Alec Bohm, but he's dealing with I don't think we've mentioned it here on the show, but he's dealing with suing his parents for taking his
Uh,
money or something like
oh
that.
wow,
So he's dealing with an issue outside of baseball, right? So you
wow,
have, I mean, we get it. They all have their situations, they all have their things going on at home. And but
yeah,
a job is a job, and they need to perform and need to come to play when they're needed. Now the problem that I see is that you just mentioned it, that lineup, if Manley's going to be able to succeed, he's going to have to change that lineup up. He can't keep it the same.
got
Why?
to be a
Because
shakeup.
it wasn't working. Schwarber's knocking the cover out the ball, but he's the only one, and he's the
Right.
leadoff. Like let's change it up. Maybe add him at fourth, put Bryce Harper at first, get more pitches down the middle, get that barrel sounding like it used to for Bryce Harper. Then you can probably move him down on the lineup as he gets it going. But it just needs to change for the Phillies because the Braves are taking off. They're not waiting for anybody. And if the Phillies want to continue to like be that team from the East, they got to compete, and they have a lot of catching up to do. And I know it's only April. It's probably like the last 2 days of April, but still, I think it's time for them to start moving on and getting there. And Manley needs to shake up that lineup. And I mean, does he have it though? Like, I don't know, man. I don't see him being the leader for the Phillies, but I could be wrong, you know?
One guy we forgot to mention in all this too, who is as of right now still their leadoff man, is Trey Turner, and it's
Okay.
like it seems like he hasn't exactly been Trey Turner, but you just know it seemed like the other day he was starting to come around the corner, and I heard like the game that was postponed tonight, that's going to be made up in a doubleheader tomorrow,
Oh,
so
okay.
that's going to be so it's going to be interesting. Maybe this is something they need, to kind of get going. They could get kickstarted with a doubleheader, and all of a sudden, boom, they've won three in a row.
Yeah.
But to have for the pitching side of things, a bright spot last night was Jesus Luzardo. They
Lazardo.
really needed this guy to step up and get back to form because he was really struggling heading into that start. And
Yeah.
to have that's a shot in the arm for the pitching side of things that they really need.
Yeah, and then of course you have Wheeler coming back that he's he should be ready to go and I mean dude I do see maybe the Phillies making a run and making a push. I'm a firm believer that any baseball team can have a good month and have like a 20 and 8 run or 20 and 7 run in that 1 month. It could happen. It has happened in the past, and why not the Phillies, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, we're rooting for them. That way, there's more competitiveness or competitive teams in the East because we have the Mets as well that are not doing well, which we haven't heard anything about their manager Carlos Mendoza getting
Yeah.
fired yet. So you want to make a prediction on that since we're on it?
That's good. Oh man, I hate to predict anybody losing their job. That's not
Right?
something, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of what we make predictions and so forth and so on. I don't see, especially after the Rockies, when you get swept by the Rockies at home. I was very surprised Monday morning when I did not see the headline with
Yeah.
Carlos Mendoza's name on it. But
Yeah.
going back to Mattingly for just a second,
Go
he
for it.
was he was like talking about or he was actually questioning the reporter at one point, where he said, "Hey, you know my track record," and he brought up the 2013 Dodgers that were like 9.5 games, or like they were in last place, and then he brought that team from the bottom, and they ended up having a successful year. That I believe, yeah, 2013, 2014, one of those years there, and so he actually brought that up, and the reporter did the research and looked it up, and he was like, "Oh yeah, he's right. It's the 2013 Dodgers here."
Yeah.
So there's something to be said for his track record. Whether he could do the same this year, remains to be seen. But yeah, but going back to Mendoza, yeah, I would not be surprised if they don't pick up some more wins this week. I think he'll be the next one going.
Yeah. And you know what the thing is too? It's not like the Phillies are the Mets. A lot of people are now saying maybe the Mets are not as good as we thought they were. And the Phillies, we cannot say that with all that roster power that they have. It'll be easy for the Phillies to be like, you know what? Yeah, we don't have a good team. No, no, they have a great team. The Mets, on the other hand, maybe that's why Carlos Mendoza hasn't lost his job because they know they
Mm.
probably don't have a good team. And that's where I kind of feel like, man, maybe they're right. You look at that roster and you're looking at players, and Juan Soto wasn't there, but he came back, and they're still not winning. Like I don't know, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
go
get the
ahead.
feeling too that sometimes talent is not everything. You put the talent together and it doesn't come together as a team. You
Yeah,
know, I've seen that myself with some of the Yankees teams that have been put together.
yeah,
And one thing that I go back to that really troubled me about this Mets team was when they were going through their losing streak. Juan Soto's like he basically didn't want to talk about it, or he was just kind of like, what, like he just kind of shoved it under the rug, if you will, or no, he said he didn't talk to the team was what it was. And I'm like,
yeah,
how can you not talk to the team? You're Juan Soto. You're one of the key guys of this franchise, if not the key guy. You leave the Yankees to come over there, and you got to be a voice for that clubhouse, a positive voice to pick these guys up and say, hey, we can get this thing together. But for him to say, oh, I didn't talk to the team, is like, wow, just raise
it,
some eyebrows.
it's crazy, right? Yeah. One thing I'm gonna say about Don Manley that 2013 is he did a lot of bonehead calls where he went to the mound
Mm.
twice when the closing situation was happening. I don't remember. I think it's Broxton that was out in the field. He threw. He walked two guys. Manley went out, and then he was walking back to the dugout. And I guess Broxton said something, and Manley walked back to the mound. So that makes two. So they had to remove him, and that cost the Dodgers a game, and that happened in the playoffs. All right.
Mm.
So hopefully he cleaned that up for the Phillies. You don't want to see those type of things, especially for major league managers. And yeah, he did brought him back, to life and everything. But it's just the other thing is that he needs to clean up some of his calling and some of these rules, because if he doesn't know the rules, then pretty much all the team is is gone. You know? All right, let's move on to the next one, man. And this is this. It pertains the same thing. The Phillies offered a job to Alex Cora, and Alex Cora declined it. Were you surprised by that, or do you feel maybe Alex Cora is holding out for another team?
I was a little bit, but then I'd like kind of stop and think of it. Like, dude just got let go by the Red Sox, and then all of a sudden you're like, what was it, 24 hours later
Yeah,
or 48 hours later, you're coming at this guy with, trying to get him to sign with a new team. I thought
yeah,
it was too soon myself, even though there were reports speculating that he was next in line for the job. I did think it was a little too soon, and I think for him, he's going to try to do what's right as far as holding out for that right contract or that right situation to present itself.
yeah. I agree. Like when you start talking about someone that's working anywhere, it could be like your job now. If someone lets you go and then someone offers you a job, I mean, you go ahead and you say, "Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and take it." But with Alex Cora, he knows what value he brings to a table and what value he brings to a baseball team. Not only just a baseball team, but he can go work at a network like Fox, MLB Network, TBS. So he knows he has value when it comes to baseball, right? So him holding out, I honestly felt like maybe he just wants to take the time off to spend with his family.
Yeah.
Because when you play baseball your entire career and then you manage a team, you don't get to spend all that time. Remember, I guess it was last year or a year ago that he went out to his daughter's graduation, and everybody was talking about it, saying, "Hey, how is it that he gets to go to graduation and we need him to go ahead and try to win a pennant?" And I remember him coming out is that family comes first, and this is in this situation, family comes first for him, and not just him. A lot of people feel the same way, and I think a lot of people need to respect his decision and not talk crap about what he made, what the decision he made, and hopefully, like it goes forward to where a job does line up for him, and that's the job he wants. I mean, I think I heard you got Ernie talk about it last week. I mean, on Sunday, and I agreed with you guys. I honestly didn't think the Boston Red Sox should have got rid of him, but they did, and this is where we're at right now.
Yeah, it is one of those things, and Ernie's on here right now.
No, that's
Yeah,
Ernie.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
the
that's
other Ernie.
yeah.
What's up, Ernie? The other Ernie.
He's like, yeah, I'm not doing the Doc Rivers thing. Yeah, that's an interesting take there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, man, I respect the guy for that. So I love it. Let's go to our next topic, man, and that's the Braves, dude. And why is it that no one's talking about the Braves being as hot as they are, man? And I'll let you go first before I go with my spiel.
Oh man, it's that Dodger blue, man. Everybody's looking. it's our, there's a lot of other like things going on. It's so easy like to look at especially in those areas, Philly, New York, when those teams aren't doing well, the spotlight can get easily put on them. But man, the Braves are just getting it done. Honestly, I looked at this year and I was looking at the Braves and I was like, I really honestly didn't know where they were going to land.
Yeah,
And there's still a lot of baseball to play, obviously, but
definitely.
I was thinking this is going to be maybe a rough April, May stretch for them, given the injuries and, to some of the pitching and things like that. But they just find a way to continue to win. This club just knows how to win. And now you have Walt Weiss at the helm. I don't want to be getting in a tangle with him in the mixed martial arts thing anytime soon. And then you got what else? And then just have what he's able. He's from the Bobby Cox lineage there, and they just continue to win. And it's guys like Grant Holmes, Bryce Elder. Like Bryce Elder right now coming into today today's 3-1 with a
3-1.
1.95 ERA. And
Yeah,
this is one of their, fifth, sixth starters here. We're not even talking about, we're not even talking about their top starters right now.
Yeah.
Chris Sale and all that. This is 5 through 6. And those guys eat innings, and they're just able to hold off teams. And they from the hitting side of things, Dominic Smith has been a very underrated pickup for them.
Hmm.
Okay, he's batting 344, the 930 OPS. OPS, for those that aren't familiar with that terminology, it's basically the player, how they get on base and what that looks like as far as extra base hits combined. So that's what that metric is. And the higher your OPS is, the more the impact you see. So a 930 OPS is pretty impressive, and he's putting that together with 4 home runs, 17 RBI, 22 hits, and 11 runs. And so a very underrated pickup, a veteran leader, a former Met, ironically enough. And and
That's
he's
true.
coming in. He's coming in and tearing the cover off the ball.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? You just mentioned OPS. They are second behind the Dodgers with a 793 as a team, so that's really good. And you're talking about the best batting average in MLB. In home runs, they are a little lower in home runs, but home runs doesn't win games. That's the thing
Yep.
where we like I think that's where this gets lost. There's teams that are hitting home runs. You have the Dodgers, you have the Yankees, and you have the Cubs, and then you have the Braves. So that's why they probably get lost, right? Because you're in the mix with the Yankees and Dodgers. Those are the top two markets, and they're playing good baseball, but not as good as the Braves, right? And then you look at the RBIs. You got the Atlanta Braves 170 RBIs. That's huge. They're number one in
Yeah.
MLB. So that's crazy. You go to the next one, which is runs 175. And the list goes on with these Braves. Like they don't strike out as much either. Strikeouts, you want to know where they're at? They're not that low. They're in the 26th spot in the strikeouts. So that's really good. They're watching the ball, they're seeing the ball, and they're making sure that they're making that pitcher throw the ball in the plate. If he's not throwing it there, he's there not swinging. So plate discipline for the Braves is there. And let me go one more, man, with the slugging. And slugging, they're the number one team, 455.
Whew.
They're yeah. So it's like the next team behind them is the Dodgers 452. We could expect that from them, but from the Braves, are you serious? So yeah, I mean the list goes on with this one, and then you look at the pitching, which you talk about, and they don't even have Strider yet. Imagine when they
Right.
get them back. So the ERA, they're number one. They're at 305. The next team after them is the Yankees, and we know the Yankees can throw. They're at 311. And the Yankees have a big time pitching staff, but then you look at the Braves and you're like, how could they be number one? They don't have Strider. What the hell?
Yep.
So that's where you start looking, and that's where I feel like the Braves maybe get lost in this mix. And they're playing good baseball right now.
Yeah.
It could be that they beat up on the Mets, they beat up on the Phillies, right? But no, you're looking at them play good baseball. They're playing small ball, big ball, and they're getting it done, dude. So I honestly feel like they can keep it up, if they go through a stretch where they don't win a lot of games, where because every team goes through it, right? Where they
Oh
lose
yeah.
5 or 6, and then they get back on the horse. If this team goes through that, you have the Phillies and the Mets all the way back where I feel like they can catch up, but like I said, they got to go through that uh 30 and I don't know what did I say 25 and 8 or I don't know something crazy like that.
So
They have to do that, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like from what reports are circulating there that Strider's going to be back Sunday for the finale of that Rocky series. So
This
they
Sunday?
get more. I believe that's what it was. I saw, not 100% certain, but
Okay.
I thought it was Sunday. They had him starting in Coors, so that might be a little dicey. Um, the first game back, you're pitching at Coors, but he's looked good in rehab starts. You
Yeah.
just hope that he comes back to being Spencer Strider and not what it was last year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anything else you want to say about the Braves? I mean, besides no one talking about them?
Well, it's like, the other thing too is just that these guys can, like, they can beat you in so many ways. Like Tarek Skubal was on the mound tonight against them, and he strikes out. Ronald Acuna strikes out 3 times. So you're like, okay, we got through Acuna, but
Yeah.
then Ozzy Albies comes through and hits a home run off of Tarek Skubal. So it's like, Matt Olson, all down the lineup. And then we just talked about Dominic Smith. Like they just continue to rake
Yeah.
and perform. The bats perform at a high level. When somebody's down, like Ronald Acuna hasn't been Ronald Acuna yet.
Not
You
yet.
know, he's still batting, what was it, 248, I believe, heading into today.
Yeah.
He's not quite there yet, but when he gets there, oh man, look out. It could be huge.
And don't forget about Austin Riley. He's with the
Yes.
Braves and he's raking. I mean, he's dude. The list goes on with the Braves, and I honestly think they're gonna take off with it. And wait till Strider comes back. He says he's coming back on Sunday, and we'll get to see that game. Let's move on, man. Let's talk about Cy Young. I know it's too early, but we've been talking about Mason Miller and how he's been pretty much dominant through the whole year and the parts of last year. He's unhittable. And I saw you guys talking about Mason Miller, and I wanted to say, like, do you see Mason Miller winning the Cy Young? And if you do, what qualifies him over these other starters, to win that Cy Young?
Yeah. So, I mean, you look at it, Eric Gagne, I think, won a Cy Young. Um,
Oh, three.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he was the last big closer to do it, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah, he was.
something like that. So it's not out of the equation. And I mean, look, you could say like they're, lower innings, all that. The saves are there. And Mason Miller also has a win. So
Yeah.
he's got a win to his credit as well, along with the 1.26 ERA. And then the strikeouts, man, like we're talking what, 28 heading in. It's like
Racking up.
he's
Yeah.
he's up there already, 28 strikeouts. Paul Skeens, who's pitched, how many innings, 6 games, 4-1, 30 strikeouts. Yamamoto's at 32. Mason Miller is like at 28, and he's like pitching an inning. Like this guy is just unbelievable. And like those stats alone, just him right up there with starting pitchers like Skeens and Yamamoto when it comes to strikeouts. Like, wow.
Yeah, that's incredible. Matt Olson walked it off. Thanks, Ernie, for putting that off the Tigers. So, yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Braves win. They got the best record, 22-9, I believe. Man,
Yeah.
they just keep surprising everybody. Yeah, no, I agree, dude. Like him striking people out is one of the things that's gonna get him to be a Cy Young if he gets voted in, right? So
Yeah.
the thing with me, I didn't like the 2003 Cy Young Award to Eric Gagne. The reason was because you had all these other pitchers. Like, for instance, you remember Jason Schmidt, the pitcher for the Giants. He was 17-5 that year. It might be wrong in the record, but he was around that area, pitching a 2.36 ERA. When you have all those
Ooh,
innings
yeah.
under you, all those strikeouts, and you had 3 complete games that year, and you compare it to Eric Gagne, like, I don't know. He was
Yeah.
lights out, right? He did have 84 consecutive saves, dating back to 2002 all the way to 2003, I believe, or 2004. All those combined, I know he had 84. The thing is, maybe there should be another award for these closers. Why? Because
Mm.
the Cy Young is more for the starter, and I have nothing against Mason Miller. I really really
Oh,
love
sure.
what he's doing, the walkout song, everything that he does, and the Padres deserve that closer because that closer is legit. He's really legit. He's gonna close it out for you. The problem I have is that the Cy Young is better suited for a starter than a reliever or a closer. And if they are looking to try to give an award for this closer, maybe they need to start looking for a Trevor Hoffman award.
Yeah.
He's a top, or Mariano Rivera. He's the top safe leader. So those are the two top safe leader. Imagine you being a closer and being given an award by these big time players like a Mariano Rivera. Imagine that'll be
Oh,
dope.
man.
So maybe proposing that award will be something that would be good and beneficial for these closers. And yeah, not saying that they don't deserve the Cy Young because they do. They're pitchers, but it's better suited, at least just for me, it's better suited more for for a starter or someone that does long relief and has an impact that way than the closer role. And like I said, I didn't like that Gagne got that Cy Young that year, even though he was a Dodger. I know that, and I really looked up to Eric Gagne. I liked how he pitched and everything. So, so I like that. But it's just I can't get behind a closer get it. Did Mariano Rivera ever got a Cy Young?
No, not that I
No, right?
recall.
No, and he's the saves leader, the
Yeah.
of all time. He's at 600 more than anybody. Trevor Hoffman's right behind him, and he's at 500. So, I mean, something like that in the award like that would be dope. I don't know if you agree with that.
No, hey, now you got me wanting to make T-shirts for Mariano Rivera. Justice for Rivera here. Give it Cy Young.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
no, no,
go for
but
it.
no, totally agree with what you're saying there. Looking at it like from that perspective, yeah, like you're eating up tons of innings there. The innings difference alone, that makes you're facing as a starter. You're facing obviously more batters. 5 6 innings is key now. But back in the day, it was what all the innings almost where everybody was going almost 8 or 9. But
Yeah, yeah,
but still, 5 6 innings is a lot different to gauge than one, maybe 2 innings at most for Miller at times. So yeah, putting it that way, I like that idea for like a closer award. I think that's something they should look into because that'll be pretty spicy.
we should push that, man. We should be like, hey,
Yeah,
let's get this going. Let's get the Mariano Rivera Award for closers or relievers for that
yeah.
instance. Why not, right? That'll be dope. All right, I wanted to show you something before we continue to Prospect Wednesday, and I wanted to kind of talk over what we have here. And the video is that I'm pretty sure you guys seen it out there where Mason Miller was pitching and they hit a little dribbler to third base. Ty France went after it and he let it go foul, but the umpires called it safe. And the crazy part about this, there you go, the film, is that, a lot of people, including myself, I was looking at this and I'm like, why did they call
Oh,
that fair ball?
wow.
And
Yeah.
I mean, as a fan, when you first see it, right, you're saying, no, that's a foul ball because it's on the
Right.
other
Right.
side, right? So what I concluded and what I saw after 2 3 days that what is it, 2 days now? I saw that this graphic, when I look at it, and then I'm looking at it from the angle where like, okay, ball one is on the lines, that's a fair ball. Ball two is a little bit outside, but it's still fair ball. And then ball three is touching the line, but it's on the opposite side. It's still fair ball. And then you look at four, it's touching a little bit. Here we come to number five. So it's not touching, but I got a baseball here. If you guys can see the baseball, the center, right? You guys see the center, this right here? This center, is what's going to be touching the ball, the ground. If you're looking at this side right here, it could be on top of that line, and that's what's going to be calling it, fair ball. If you look at number five, you look at the shadow on top. Imagine the shadow was on the other side. If it was on the other side and touching the line, the umpire could look at it and say, "Hey, it's on top of that line, and it's a fair ball." I don't agree with it. Don't kill me. I'm just
Oh,
a messenger, and this is what I
man.
dug up. I
Don't
mean,
kill the messenger.
right? Because I know there's going to be a lot of Padre fans looking at the LA hat. What do you know? Like I don't. I'm just trying to explain something that's what I thought, and that's what I'm looking at. As if you're an umpire, maybe you're looking at the shade. Maybe the lighting from the stadium was giving that shade right there at that point, and the umpires made that call. Yeah, there was two umpires there, but one of them had to make the decision, and he made the decision based off that shadow. And it didn't cost the Padres a loss, but it did cost the Padres the runs and Mason Miller to get that ERA to a 1 point. What is it? 1.6 or 1 point? What?
1.26.
1.26. There you go. So, and he wasn't in the save situation either. So, I don't know why they brought him in into. I don't like that when they bring a closer and they're winning by a lot of runs.
Man,
It just
yeah.
jinx it. It jinxed it for them, and
Yeah.
that's what happened. But I mean, I don't know. Do you agree with that? I just brought it up. I don't know if anybody out there was talking about it or not talking about it, but that's just what I thought of.
I think I think you explained it perfectly, Carlos. I just I'm like, man, could they have not seen the shadow? Like, could we have just, for the
I mean,
game's sake, to keep this inning thing alive? Could they just have not seen it? But
yeah. I mean, look, when you're on the moment and you're hot, your
yeah,
body's hot, and you're looking at the game, and you're looking at the game at 9 innings, that little shadow can determine so many things. We have the strike zone for a reason because they have a
yeah,
long innings that they have to judge a strike going over a plate. So I mean, a ball going over the plate, and this is the same thing. Like in soccer, they have those visual for us that if it passes the line, it's a goal, and if it doesn't, it's not a goal. And they look at, they go to this one screen and they look and they judge and they say, hey, it did go through, so it's a goal. And they get scored, or they score one goal, they score 1 point. So it's the same with baseball. I mean, it's crazy, dude. Like so many people are saying that it's just foul. But I was just kind of like, let's look at the little bit of the
yeah.
logic here. Let's look at the umpire's perspective. And I don't know if you guys heard already, but I kind of like defend the umpires a little bit. A little bit too much, I think. Don't you think, Jamal?
Yeah, way too much. Come on.
All right. Let's go to the next topic, man. And this is Wednesday Prospect, and this is why we are here today because Jamal's going to give us some prospects and some updates. Go ahead, Jamal. The show is all yours.
All right. Well, the first prospect we will go over is the one that there is a YouTube short on from this week, and that's Travis Bazzana that just got the call up there on Tuesday. So today he went 0 for 4 and had an error, but on Tuesday's game he ended up with 2 walks. And to let you know how everybody's looking at this guy already, even though he's yet to get his first major league hit, he was walked intentionally in the 9th inning. So they're already looking at this kid and going, "Oh no, we don't want that smoke." So just keep an eye out on Travis Bassana there to pick things up. He's got
Yeah,
an off day tomorrow, but keep an eye out on Friday. He should, as he gets more acclimated to the majors, pick things up here.
definitely. Yeah. We got more I mean, I don't know, man. When I looked him up, I'm like, you were looking at his highlights and we're looking at what he was doing. I'm like, man, how many injuries did he have in the minors? Do you know?
Yeah, he had the most recent one was an oblique injury. Trying to think back to how many games he missed, but that's been his Achilles heel so far. So the biggest thing is that hopefully he can stay on the field and produce here. So obviously, you get 1 or 2 injuries, and obviously it takes you out of your rhythm. So, but
Yeah,
he was raking in AAA before the call up, and Cleveland is hoping to get the prospect that they drafted back in 2024 there.
yeah. And an oblique injury is not something that you can go ahead and say, "Oh, I'm just going
Oh,
to be out one game." No, that takes 6 to 8 weeks to recover from it. So, yeah, that's why. And we had some questions on the video, asking like, "Why did it take so long?" And I say, "Injuries." Like that's what happened with him. So
yeah,
hopefully, we get to see the full season of him
yeah.
in Guardians, and we'll get to experience the prospect do his thing. All right, man. Next one.
All right, next one is a prospect from the Detroit Tigers that may be on the verge of getting called up. Not 100% sure. And I'm talking about Max Clark here, the outfielder for the Detroit Tigers. Javi Baez went down with what looked to be a very gruesome leg injury. So our prayers up for him, obviously.
That
Hopefully,
was his knee, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and it
I
did
saw
not
that.
look good. He was carted off,
Yeah.
so not looking good there. But Scott Harris, president of baseball operations there for the Tigers, kind of downplayed that they were going to call up Clark anytime soon. But he is batting 305 with a homer. He's very disciplined right now, 13 walks, and it's got an OPS of 834. Although in the last handful of games, he's only been batting 116. So hopefully he can pick things up He was actually the top prospect for the Detroit Tigers before Kevin McGonigal, and McGonigal's just kind of leapfrogged and just taken the MLB here and the Tigers by storm since the season started. So hopefully Max Clark can pick things back up, and we will hopefully see him in the majors maybe later on this year.
McGonagall was like, "I'll take a ticket, but I'm not waiting. I'm gonna go up." All right, let's go to the next one,
All right. The next one is obviously from the struggling New York Mets. Looking at their number 3 prospect here, AJ Ewing.
Yeah.
Is just promoted to AAA Syracuse, and he is right now batting in 67 at bats. He's batting 373 with 2 home runs, 12 stolen bases, with a 1.127 OPS. So this guy is just killing it right now, and you hope that it continues. It now out of all the prospects we're kind of talking about right now, and we'll get to the last one here in a minute. But he's probably the one where it may be the least. We might be waiting 2027 before he gets, the call up.
Yeah.
That being said, the Mets continue spiraling out of control, and who knows? Maybe the management says, "Hey, we want to take a look at this kid now and see what he's got for a lost season."
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, they're gonna make some moves. We're gonna get to see if the Mets keep falling down, dude. It's gonna happen sooner than later. I don't see you know, prospects not coming up with the Mets. They're trying to fix something. They're trying to rejuvenate this team to where they get better with youth. And what better way than bringing up your youth from the minor leagues instead of trading away your talent. We'll get to see that. And your last one, or was it is your last one? The next
Yeah,
one?
one more here, and that's the Miami Marlins top pitching prospect, Robbie Snelling.
Oh,
He is 2-1 right now in the minor leagues with a 2.25 ERA, a 1.4 WHIP, and he's got 24 innings pitched with 35 strikeouts.
yep.
And so he's just continue to do his thing. And he's another one that may get called upon later this season for Miami. So keep an eye out on Robbie Snelling there.
Yeah, you know why you're gonna get to see that pitcher come up? Because they're gonna trade off their players, man. I
Yeah,
honestly think they are, and that's not a team that usually holds their players. They try to get bigger players, and their farm system is what happens. It's like the Rays, man. The
yeah.
Rays produce good players, and then they trade them off because they know they can't pay them later. So, it's just gonna happen, and it sucks. But out of all these 3 prospects, which one do you like the most?
Whew. Yeah. Out of these 3, I probably will go with AJ Ewing. Just the way
Ewing?
the way he's hitting the ball and everything right now. There a toss up there between he and Robbie Snelling, but I'm going to give the edge to Ewing.
Okay,
For like what I'm seeing out of him right now in AAA. He's just
sweet.
killing it.
Sweet. We're gonna have to make some shorts on that, and I will, man. I'll make sure that that's captured in here. All right, man. We reached that point in time in our show, dude, that we talked about everything that it is to talk about. Unless you have anything else in your last mentions.
Yeah, just a real quick last mention there. Many people probably have already seen it, but not getting prettier for the Red Sox. Unfortunately, they put their ace, Garrett Crochet, on the 15-day IL earlier today with shoulder inflammation. So just when it looked like things were starting to get a little bit better in Boston, they lose their ace for the unforeseeable future there. So,
Yeah.
but Peyton Tolley, that the bright spot there probably gives him a little more solidified spot in the rotation for the time being.
You know what they say, when it rains it pours, man, and that's what's happening in Boston. It sucks to be a Boston Red Sox right now, but it's the season's still young. Where you're only going into the month of May, and this is where you start seeing teams fall out of first place or staying in first place, and actually seeing if they're going to continue to play the way they're playing. This is going to be the big test for all these big teams that have so much promise, especially like the Mets, the Phillies, the Red Sox are up there, And I know there's injuries involved. You got the Blue Jays, but I don't think the Blue Jays are out. It's just they have entirely too much injuries, right? So this is where we get to see what teams are going to be up, and it's going to be an exciting month coming up because this is the time, Jamal, that we get to see the teams that are going to take off with it. Either, like I said, I forgot to mention the Giants, if they want to continue to be up there, or be a big time rival with the Dodgers and say, hey, it's not the Padres, it's us, it's the Giants, then they need to step up and to the plate and hit the ball. Yeah. So, all right. Your last mentions, Jamal, or was that it?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Just
Yeah.
excited for another week of baseball coming up. We've got some good news down the stretch here. So yeah.
Yeah. Sweet, sweet. All right. From all of us here on Real Talk Baseball and Carlos Baseball, this is Jay Dizzle. Real Talk Baseball, signing out.